If I'm watching some of this toxic Chinese battles with like the billionaires and the influencers and all that stuff, which is so salacious to watch, which I highly recommend. Let me recommend some gossip while I tell you not to gossip. I would also recommend listening to other things. And I'm not saying like I'll stop judging people, because it's easy to do so and it's natural and it happens. I'm just saying that we could be mindful. Kind of like, it gives me the ick after. My brain feels icky, my body feels icky, my like soul feels icky after judging people so much. I think it's kind of like treat food. I think you just need a healthy balance, you know? Like, you can't possibly stop the judgment. You can't stop judging yourself. You can't stop judging other people. But you can limit it a little bit. Like, you're consuming always, right? Or not always. Hopefully you're not consuming always. But we watch a lot of stuff on our phones. And some of it can be really healthy but boring, like the Buddhist wisdom crap that I watch, and also some other like Freudian stuff, and like they're great to watch and they're healthier for you, as well as watching some salacious stuff. But then when you catch yourself judging someone, instead of thinking, what does this say about them? You can think, do I even need an opinion on this? Why is it on me to have an opinion on everyone's life? I feel like that's so exhausting for me, you know? In general, I kind of want to spend less time judging people and more time thinking about my own life, thinking about how I can make my life better, or enjoying the life I have. I don't need to have an opinion. Maybe some of my friends are cheating on their spouses. Maybe some of my family members are spending too much of their money. Maybe they're doing this, maybe they're doing that, maybe the stranger's doing this, maybe the celebrity is doing that. But does it matter to me? Why do I have to care enough to have an opinion? I could just be like, that's their life to live, and I'm gonna focus on my life, because it's taking up space in my head that I don't need, you know? I could use that time to breathe, to think about, oh, maybe I need a break. Maybe I need something else. Maybe I need something. I don't need to think about what they need. That's on them. That's their responsibility, you know? What they want to do with their life is their responsibility and their choices. But like for me, I don't do that. I don't need to focus on their life. I want to focus on my own life. My second point is that it's a mirror. If you keep judging people because they are rude, they are lazy, they are not dressing well, they are awkward, then you too will be like, am I awkward? Am I lazy? I can't be lazy because I'm judging everyone else for being lazy. I can't be sexy or slutty. I'm judging other people for having those feelings and urges and dressing that way. I can't be XYZ. So you start giving yourself all these rules instead of just being authentically you. It's subtle too. Every time you judge someone a little bit, you're going to make a rule for yourself that you can't be like that person. You can't have those attributes. And then you start living in this cage because you can't do any of those things, or you can't feel any of those things, or you can't live the way they live. You can't ever be flawed because you're judging them. I don't want to be scanning the emotional environment all the time and asking questions like, am I sharing or am I showing off? Am I honest or am I trying to be cool? Am I allowed to say men are attracted to me? Or does it sound like I'm competing with women? Am I allowed to be myself without asking myself all these questions all the time? You know, I think there's a difference between being self-aware. You're being self-aware because you want to change something about yourself. You're insecure and you want to learn to be more secure. You know, you might have intentions of hurting someone because you're hurt yourself. That is being self-aware. But if you're chronically asking yourself, is this okay to say? How was I perceived? That's not being self-aware. You're just self-policing yourself. Your intention isn't to help yourself accept yourself and be who you were meant to be. Your intention in that specific self-policing situation is to be liked and perceived well by others. Maybe the kindest reason to not judge someone isn't that everyone deserves endless grace. Maybe the kindest reason to not judge someone is because it will come back to you in your own judgment of yourself. Anyways, if you like my content, I will always be making this kind of shit. How do I explain this kind of shit? How to be less toxic in the most selfish ways, where you're like, I want to be kinder, I want to be less rude, I want to be more polite because it benefits me. What's a judgment you've had about other people that you subtly realized became a rule you were using against yourself? Comment down below. I would love to hear it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.